Alright, so if you don't know who Dream is, then first of all, what are you doing with yourself to have not found out this guy? And second of all, how'd you find this video before finding him? Yeah, no, the point is that you probably know who Dream is, and recently he's announced that with the next merch drop, one random subscriber is going to be picked to challenge him in a Minecraft Manhunt. However, Dream is debated to be one of the most skilled players who've ever hit the YouTube scene, so if you're planning on beating him, then tough luck. With 20 plus Manhunt videos, as well as others with a similar concept, a deep knowledge of the game and its inner mechanics, incredible speedrunning ability, which won him the world record not 1 but 3 times, good enough to rival even 3 fully stacked players in combat, it's no surprise that the average player would have a near impossible time beating him. However, I'm pitting you, the average player, against one of the best players Minecraft YouTube can offer. How are you going to beat him? And is it even possible? Well, just keep watching and find out. First, let's set off the ground rules. In a Manhunt, generally the rules boil down to the following. Assuming you're the runner, a dead end or dragon is your win condition, whether by your opponent or by yourself. Generally, a death doesn't count as a loss unless you're a good way into the challenge, as Dream has stated before and has done in the past, as a 3-minute video doesn't make much for good content. Finally, let's assume that natural deaths don't count. The only way you lose is if the hunter Dream forces you into a situation where you die or slays you himself. Assume you get a 1 to 3 minute head start to ensure the average player has a chance at all. And before we move on to the main event, only a small portion of viewers who watch my content are actually subscribed, so if you could do me a favor and hit the subscribe button, that'd mean the world to me. We're trying to get to 50 by April. And if you enjoy, make sure to leave a like so I can make more content like this in the future. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy. Alright, so first off, forget hand-to-hand PvP.
And the $10 billion fight winner is Dream!
Dream has broken the Minecraft speedrun world record 3 times, and widely regarded as the best Minecraft player.
Beating the likes of Fruitberries, Technoblade, and has even admitted to practicing for hours and even days on end.
Know who? There's a whole list of people, maybe Tommy, I don't know, I really don't know who. But I think he's probably training with his friends that are insane in 1.8.9 and just spending hours and hours preparing in the game mode he is less good at.
In fact, he even practiced for multiple days at 1.8 and became good enough to rival the supposed PvP champions of the version.
Oh, he's so close, he's like half a heart. He's like half a heart below. He's so low. Oh, I knew it. I knew it. I knew it.
Because of this, you'd best try carrying an axe for emergencies, with your best case scenario being a knockback or fire aspect sword. A knockback would make it impossible for him to get close, whereas the fire aspect would allow you to do damage while fleeing. However, because you can't get in close, this leads us to our first topic, ranged. Your main form of attack is going to be ranged. You're going to be using bows and crossbows, so get ready for it, and practice your aim. You'll want to stock up on arrows in the early game, and get to the nether as soon as possible. That way, you can use 4 glowstone dust and an arrow to double your supply by making them spectral arrows. Furthermore, carrying crossbows in your hotbar would be a great idea. According to this damage calculator made by u/soulsparks on Reddit, since the average crossbow bolt deals roughly 9 damage, and because you'll be carrying a sword, a bow, food, blocks, or a water bucket in your hotbar, that leaves you with enough slots for 4 crossbows, assuming you've already loaded them beforehand, and assuming Dream is using iron armor. This means that should you be able to hit at least 3 of the 4 shots, you'll be instantly KO'd. However, unless you've managed to get piercing on all your crossbows, this is unlikely to work as he can just block it. So then, is that it? Man, that sucks. If only there was something else you could... Stocking up on gunpowder, either by looting chests or borrowing some from creepers, as well as making sure you have a ton of flour or dye, you can make a good amount of fully charged firework rockets. And as Technoblade so heartily displayed to the entirety of Lamberg, fireworks are OP. Dealing an average of 4.5 hearts, but more often than not dealing a maximum of 9 total, it's no wonder why he was able to shred through over 6 fully enchanted netherite players. And with plugging the 18 damage into the damage calculator, it becomes pretty clear pretty quickly that this is an absolute must if you have any hope of taking down Dream or slowing him down at the very least. You only need to hit Dream with 2 of the 4 fire red shots, and although they don't travel through any of these detonating, spread makes it much easier to cause excess damage, after which you could easily finish the job. However, doing so would cost a hefty amount of gunpowder. Once you're in the nether, however, things change in your favor. Get some gold and use the nuggets, and add them into your firework stars. Not only does this ensure maximum damage, but it'll also give your fireworks a star shape, increasing the spread. Alternatively, you could do the same with a fire charge, but costing a blaze powder, you're better off saving it for the end. Again, making the stars a good choice to ensure he gets hit. Alright, so this next tactic might require a little bit more precision, and it might get rather irritating, but if you want to win, you're going to have to use everything at your disposal. Iron is rather easy to come by, so unless it's the start of a round, If you found yourself a nosy trader or somehow got some slime and have extra string, bring a village golem with you by making a lead. Not only will he protect you from mobs as long as you don't hit him, but should you get a good amount, you could always use them as meat shields? Should Dream try to attack you, there's a good chance he'll hit one of your golems by accident, aggroing them against him due to the fact that they spawn naturally and as such will attack players, often fatal in just 1 or 2 swipes ranging anywhere from 7 to 21 damage. Just make sure you have a lot, and I mean a lot, of iron to repair your golems for any damage they might sustain, to make sure they're in the best shape while fighting Dream. By the way, hopefully you have a beefy computer because this is one fluffy form of defense that we're taking out of Boffy's handbook.
What if instead of playing Minecraft conventionally, I raised a massive battalion of rabid dogs to do my bidding for me? Yes, goddamn right, I'm making a dog army.
By slaughtering every animal in a 50-mile radius, or saving up your rotten flesh and bones, you can harness the power of PETA and breed tons of dogs. And I don't mean like 1 or even 5. Every piece of meat that you can spare is worth investing back into your dogs to breed more. With so many good boys on your side, you can easily overwhelm Dream, who, in best case scenario, has a diamond sword.
Get him away. Why do you always leave me, George?
Which against an army that won't hesitate to protect you at the cost of their own lives, the default 3 damage of a dog starts to add up. Overwhelmed, Dream will be forced to retreat, or even be killed, buying you and your cuddly compatriots some more time. But just make sure you have enough food to spare though, as these guys can eat a lot. Now this is where the fun begins, so if you don't already know, potions are broken. One strength 2 potion, for example, allows you to deal up to 2.6 times the amount of damage you normally do.
Yes!
And this is what we're going to focus on. This applies to your golems and wolves too, which is worth keeping in mind. If you want to beat Dream in his own game, potions are a must. Assuming you have an iron sword, not only will you do more damage on a crit than you would with a netherite axe, but imagine the benefits if you apply these potions to your pets. Wolves, which do a meek 3 damage, suddenly do roughly 4 hearts per attack. If you have more than 20 wolves, this means that taking out Dream will be a cakewalk so long as you can manage to keep him alive. Furthermore, imagine you're getting a carrot early on and you manage to brew an invisibility potion. Then, by using some gunpowder, make it a splash potion and apply it to your army. By leaving yourself vulnerable, should Dream attack you, an army of invisible dogs will start shredding him to bits. Not only is this really funny, but it's even better when you apply it to the Iron Golem. Because of their already massive damage, when you use a strength potion on them, things get interesting. Where the minimum attack would have done 7, it will now deal 18.2.
No, that's a lot of damage!
While the highest possible attack will deal an incredibly unnecessary 54.6 damage.
That's a lot of damage!
Or 1/4 of the dragon's health. While yes, the dragon won't be impacted by the strength buff, a player certainly will. Combine this with invisibility, and a bow shot aimed at you suddenly becomes an invisible instant killing tank charging right for him, which he quite literally will never see coming. After all, Sun Tzu said, all warfare is based on deception. Hence, when we are able to attack, we must seem unable. When using our forces, we must appear inactive. When we are near, we must make the enemy believe we are far away. When far away, we must make him believe we are near. Breed the dog, get the achievement Parrots and the Birds. Once the message displays, Dream will likely say that he'll kill it.
Wait, no, he's right there! My dog!
Then sacrifice 3 dogs later on so it looks like all your wolves died, and make a big deal out of it. Once he reaches you, this thought will have long passed and hopefully nothing would have come from it, allowing your dogs to make the perfect ambush. Because while sad, doing so will allow you to take him by surprise. However, should push come to shove, there is one final drastic measure that you can employ. However, the 2B2T community is already far too familiar with it. So if you don't already know, Dream's channel was originally a trap channel.
Still. Oh, he's done! What? Oh,
A server trap channel. So while it may be hard to outsmart him in this department, it isn't impossible. Looking at what Sun Tzu says, there's 2 main takeaways. Don't say anything about traps, and don't do anything which implies you'll make any to begin with. As for the second, by doing so, you'll easily be able to catch him off guard. Make simple TNT traps which explode when a tree is mined. Replace natural spawning chests with trapped ones, linking them up to explosives. Tripwire in front of the portal linked to a TNT and a dispenser above to detonate it is always a good trick. tripwire in a stronghold even, linked with arrows to catch him off guard in hallways, are always a good alternative too. Lure a hoglin out of the nether and fence it off in the area. By doing so, you'll essentially have a death machine guarding anyone else from coming through. And although it may only stall him, any distance at all is necessary in a manhunt. It'll get a bit harder after every trap before Dream, as he's starting to realize what you're doing. This is definitely for the more creatively inclined out there, so as such, don't feel afraid to think outside the box. This is definitely one of the most essential parts to winning a manhunt, as you're constantly having to outsmart your opponent, only limited by your imagination. So, as long as you can keep thinking, you can keep getting some distance, however little it may be, however extreme the traps might get. Just try to keep him off your tail, and always set up something to stop him. Ender Crystal PvP has been known to be a bit risky, though each and every time, if performed correctly, the result is always the same: instantaneous victory. Dream even used a modified, albeit trapped version in his 1v3 manhunt win. Yes! With the worst case scenario being that Dream somehow got some full netherite, he would still take all 10 damage hearts minimum, and that's without counting any fall damage he may incur. Furthermore, while wearing iron, which is the most likely scenario, he'd take a brutal 32 points of damage, or 16 hearts total. That's nearly doubled his health bar. And while not wearing any armor, though highly unlikely, he'd take a whopping 18.5 hearts of damage, or 37 points of damage, without counting for fall damage. And this is all in easy mode. Suffice to say, he'd be atomized in seconds. So imagine the collateral damage should he decide to up the challenge difficulty. However, this leaves us with a few more methods, albeit more abstract. If you want to beat Dream, these tactics aren't going to be enough. You have to come up with a strategy. This entire paper has been following the strategies of Sun Tzu's The Art of War. So now it's time to double down and ensure your victory. Step 1. Know your opponent and know yourself. As Sun Tzu once said, if you know the enemy and you know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. If you know yourself but not the enemy, for every victory gained, you will also suffer a defeat. If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle. While it may seem like Dream has the upper hand here, it's actually you. You have the upper hand. Why? Because unlike Dream, you've got no information on you at all. No videos, no publicity, and most of all, no exposed tactics. Dream has every last iota that you need to beat him. You know his strengths, you've seen his strengths, and you know his weaknesses, as you've seen him lose. But he doesn't know the same for you. You've got a window into his mind, whereas you're walled off like a brick. Not that there's anything there to begin with. So use that to your advantage. Find out what works and what doesn't from his videos. Take a note from Antfrost and use instant damage too, for example. The moment that you're able to, make yourself as many of these potions as you can, and replace them with the crossbow fireworks you were using before. While yes, they do inflict less damage, they do a true damage of 6 hearts. So, whether you're armorless or full prot netherite while blocking with a shield, you will always take 6 hearts of damage. That's how he was able to kill him so fast.
Your shield counter?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
You're pretty much muffin.
How much?
Yeah, that does 6 hearts.
Unlike crossbow fireworks, which take about a second or two of delay to explode, leaving him a notable escape window, the potions are near instantaneous depending on how close you are to him, or by how much surprise you take it by, allowing you to off him using only 2 of your 6 potions, should you have enough materials to brew them twice. Now going back to Sun Tzu, supreme excellence consists of breaking the enemy's resistance without fighting. Pretend inferiority and encourage his arrogance. This quote that I single-handedly sticky glued together from a bunch of Sun Tzu's other quotes leads to the most important, as well as the most vital pieces of advice that you can gain from him. As a supreme strategist, Sun Tzu knew how to outsmart his enemies, and if you're going to do the same, from the moment you join the server, start cracking jokes, make small talk. If you can make him believe that you're only trying to be friendly and aren't really taking the manhunt seriously, then chances are he won't either. Monkey see, monkey do. Just ask him questions about himself. Psychologists the world over can attest to the fact that everyone loves talking about themselves.
Video, we coded it so that I am in love with George Not Found. I love women and also George Not Found.
And by doing so, they'll inevitably succumb to their own hubris.
Oh my god, I'm stupid. So stupid!
Dream will leave any part in the video if he thinks it's funny, as he stated in the Minecraft Manhunt vs 3 Hunters analysis.
I thought there's no way he doesn't die, and it'd be really funny for the video if I didn't kill him and I just watched him die to wither skeletons. And I was right, so yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And while some of you may think that this may be a bit of a stretch, a bit of a hard task to pull off that might not be worthwhile, quote Sun Tzu again. Attack him where he is unprepared. Engage people with what they expect, occupying their minds while you wait for that which they cannot anticipate. According to Sun Tzu, the best method you can use here is by getting him into a false sense of security, and by doing so, you will easily be able to attack when he isn't ready. Of course, make sure only to do this in a situation where you are absolutely sure you will die any other way. This is supposed to be your failsafe, your coup de grace, the end-all be-all. As you do this, it's fairly certain that he won't fall for the same scheme twice, and as such, only use it as a last resort, as when he respawns, he's not likely to be so friendly. Assuming you've made it this far, there's only one thing standing between you and victory. The dragon? No, it's what you need to get to the dragon itself. What locks it away? The portal. The problem with that, however, is that once it's unlocked, it stays open no matter what. So that being said, how can you lock up this area and avoid any unwanted guests from paying you a visit? Well, it's a bit complicated, but since you aren't allowed to trap the entering of the portal after the BBH situation, your best bet is to try and make the portal inaccessible in the overworld. By blocking the top and bottom, you can easily pearl glitch inside, leaving Dream to break into the portal by hand. Your best bet here is keeping the silverfish spawner active, as this would essentially become a major source of annoyance for him. In my opinion, should you have enough time and the resources to, leave a chunk loader in the area. There's plenty of tutorials online on YouTube how to make them. This is a bit extra, however the idea is out there if you need it. Besides that, this is mainly reliant on your skill to improvise and work with what you're given. Though it is imperative that you do not seek to annihilate him, as Sun Tzu put it. Not only will this burn through your resources greatly, but he's likely to have a bed placed down nearby. And you can't win by doing this. Killing him once won't stop him if you can just come back. As Sun Tzu states, that when people are in danger, people will seek to win. Put him in an absolute check and he'll be sure to find a way out of it.
Okay, I broke the water, I broke the water! Yes! My dream!
Yes!
Georgia!
Yes! By
Likely
dream!
more eager to win than before, so keep it simple and don't go overboard. It could be your demise otherwise. And as we know, he's very competitive. You have to believe in yourself. Sun Tzu, The Art of War. While some may say it's cliche, cheesy, or all of the above, it's the final method for a reason. You need to believe in your own skill, as otherwise you'll never be able to beat a player like Dream, let alone Dream himself. Oftentimes, stress can cause us to do irrational things like succumb to anger, feel frustrated, or turn to violence. Inevitably, this impacts your judgment, and things fall flat from there. If any of you have played a Mario game before, you know that when you get bad at a level, it seems like the more and more you play, the worse you get. The same applies to any game or any situation you might find yourself in throughout your day-to-day life. Believing in ourselves is something that's hard to do for many of us, and while some may struggle with this notion, it's important to note that if you want to win, you simply cannot think of yourself as incapable. If you don't feel as though you're worthy of your opponent, you'll never, ever win against anybody, in a game, in school, in real life. Whether that opponent be a person, a test, an interview, or even self-inflicted, you must never underestimate yourself. Otherwise, you're doomed to fail. As Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi once said, don't underestimate your opponent, but don't overestimate them either. Now let's get this straight. By underestimating Dream, yes, you're doomed to fail. But if you prepare yourself, it's possible to succeed, as you should with anyone. Don't put Dream on a pedestal. He's just one person, as are you. And as such, you're an equal to him. Yes, he's likely better than you at the game, but he still has his flaws which can be exploited. He isn't untouchable, and by giving yourself every possible advantage, by playing the cards at your disposal, it is indeed possible for anyone, including you, to beat Dream in a manhunt. By simply planning out strategy beforehand, believing yourself capable of executing it, it's more than possible for you to beat Dream at his own game. After all, as Sun Tzu said, even the finest sword, plunged into salt water, will eventually rust. Oh, also that's it. Look, graph, subscribe.